So, what can a simple black stone tell us about one of the most iconic figures in all of history? Well, in this explainer, we're going to unpack that profound connection between Mahatma Gandhi, his philosophy, and the powerfully simple memorial that honors his incredible life. India's first prime minister, Jawaharlal Nehru, he really put it perfectly. For an entire nation, any space that Mahatma Gandhi occupied, it became sacred ground. So you can see why it might seem a little surprising then that the memorial for this global icon is so starkly simple. It's just a black stone open to the sky. But that simplicity, it isn't an accident. It's actually the whole point. Let's dive in and find out why.
All right, so to really get a feel for the man, we first need to understand the place where his legacy is enshrined. Okay, so I want you to just picture yourself here at Ghat in New Delhi. This isn't some grand, imposing monument. No, it's a space of really profound peace located right there on the banks of the Yamuna River.
When you visit, the experience itself is a kind of ritual. You're asked to remove your shoes as a sign of respect, you walk through Corridone's quiet gardens, and you're gently guided toward a central courtyard. The whole atmosphere just prepares you for a moment of quiet reflection. Okay, now this is where it gets really interesting, because every single element of this place tells a part of Gandhi's story. It's like a masterclass in symbolic design. So the entire site was designed by an architect named Vanu G. Bhutta. And what he did was brilliant. He chose the pattern of a sacred mandala. That's an ancient Indian symbol of wholeness and the universe, with the memorial placed right at its very heart. And on that simple black stone, there are only two words inscribed. Hey Ram, which means, oh God. These were the very last words Gandhi uttered after he was assassinated on January 30th, 1948, a final expression of his unshakable faith. You can only imagine the grief the nation felt. As Nehru said, the light has gone out of our lives. This memorial immediately became a focal point for all that national sorrow, a place to remember the man who had been their light. And this right here, this brilliantly illustrates the core concept. The memorial's simplicity is the message. That unadorned black granite, it reflects his life of simplicity and austerity. And the eternal flame burning beside it, that symbolizes how his ideas, his influence will never, ever be extinguished. So we've seen the powerful symbols. But how do they connect to the principles that Gandhi lived by every single day? I mean, his life was this series of pivotal moments that completely transformed a nation. From the moment he returned to India in 1915 to leading that famous Salt March in 1930, his journey was all about putting his philosophy into practice. At the very heart of his philosophy was this core tenet, ahimsa. And look, this wasn't just passive nonviolence, like not fighting back. No, it was a radical, active compassion. A deep commitment to never causing harm to any living being. And out of ahimsa came his most powerful tool for change, satyagraha. It literally translates to truth force. This was his method, his weapon, if you will, a relentless yet completely peaceful pursuit of truth and justice, even against overwhelming odds. And he didn't just preach this stuff, he lived it in every aspect of his life, right down to his few earthly possessions. He believed that true freedom, what he called Swaraj, actually started with self-sufficiency. And that's perfectly symbolized by his iconic spinning wheel. So what's the big takeaway here? What does all this mean for us today? How do these ideas from the past resonate in our modern, pretty complex world? I mean, can a philosophy of nonviolence, simplicity, and truth force, can it really tackle modern challenges? Well, it's a question that a lot of people in organizations are actively exploring right now. Let's just take the modern governance firm Ghat, for example. They were founded in 2020, and their entire mission, believe it or not, is grounded in Gandhian values. They focus on people-centered governance, empowering people at the grassroots level, and using technology for inclusion, all direct applications of principles from a century ago. And this isn't some niche idea. His impact is truly global. His birthday, October 2nd, is recognized by the United Nations as the International Day of Nonviolence. That's a huge testament to the universal power of his message. So we're going to end with this thought from the man himself, a message of radical connection, his belief in the absolute oneness of humanity. It suggests our own liberation is completely tied to everyone else's. And it leaves us with a powerful question for our own divided world, doesn't it? What would it take for us to truly see ourselves in everyone?